We'll go through some introductions, talk about coaching today. We have presentations on planning, throwing mechanics, fielding mechanics, hitting mechanics, and some closing remarks. To my knowledge, all of this PowerPoint is going to be able to be sent to you electronically, so you don't have to frantically be writing unless you're one of those people that needs to frantically write a bunch of things down. Seeing my wife's not here, I probably don't have to worry about it, but at any rate, we'll send it out. It'll probably also be uploaded to our Lakeville North High School baseball website, so it'll be there all the time. I think we're going to videotape it, so if you want to go back and watch something again or hear something again, it'll be there for our library. My name's Tony Markin. I'm the head baseball coach at, obviously, Lakeville North. Eric Gassman's here.
Okay.
Luke Sleeper's our pitching coach, and I put all of our staff on there just in case you might know them from somewhere else and you want to run something baseball-wise. Scott Schmelzle is here. Jake Groff is here. Brent Denzie's here. Doug Stanton also coaches with us, and Tim Thorson also coaches with us. So coaching today, kind of addicted to the immediate feedback. And so there's a lot of social media things out there, a lot of things that people are trying. They see it, the kids see it. I see it in our own kids where they come up, like, hey, look at this drill, and then they're doing that. But they don't necessarily understand why they're doing it. So I think our job is to really try to find a foundation that we can give kids so that when they see things like that, they can determine as they start to try it, and more importantly, so that they can feel what's going on. It's more than just watching it. They got to be able to feel what they're talking about. Unless they have the knowledge base, then some of it is just extra things that they're just doing. And they're trying to come in with a new stance and hitting almost all the time. It's just like, just slow down and have some confidence in what you're doing. Things that you want to know, make sure that it's appropriate, obviously for the age level, has to be accurate, has to align with their foundation. They have to be able to feel it. There are some great resources out there. We have a bunch of links that are on here to different videos. Doesn't mean that all of the videos by that person are the greatest thing ever, but there's some really good ones that are out there, especially once you have a foundation. Where's our split? How many North people are here? Then we have South too, so that's good. So we'll only do part of the PowerPoint, and then later we'll do the rest. All right. Presentations a little bit. Scott Schmelzle, he'll kick us off. Now, if you're coming back Thursday, it's not going to be exactly the same. All right? Thursday, we'll have kind of an introduction where we go through the PowerPoint on Thursday for part of it, and then the other segments, you'll just kind of be able to pick and have some discussion in follow-up time. So, for those that come on Thursday, not today, they'll be able to see the whole presentation. But others that were here, then coaches are going to be here, and there'll be time for you to discuss and think about things, try some things, and we'll break it up that way. So it won't be exactly the same. Meet check. We start, I think just last year was the first time that we started doing meet checks with our team before practice and before games. And by the time, if it slipped our mind that we hadn't done it yet, our kids were like, hey, we need a meet check. When are we going to meet check? And so it's getting them emotionally and mentally ready for practice. And the biggest thing that I can say about that is that they're just checking things in their bag. Things that are going on in the outside world, they have to be able to leave that there. They have to be 100% ready mentally and emotionally to get other things out of the way. And sometimes they might have to have a conversation with you. We got it through the Minnesota Gophers. They do it. And basically their rule is if you got something that's on your mind that you can't get yourself checked in and ready for practice, then leave. And obviously we're not going to do that with a 10-year-old. But you might want to, if you're not ready. But it just takes a few minutes, totally quiet. They just lay, and it looks like the goofiest warm-up that you've ever seen, but some of our best players, all of our players outside of one or two, and eventually those one or two were like, all right, we got it. Everybody else is doing this, and it's an important thing. What am I focusing on? Leave the baggage, invest in myself, invest in my teammates, and to be between the lines. And that's just, how hard are you going to play when it's between the lines? That kind of mindset. And you can create all of those things for yourself. But it was a great way for us to start practice. And it was good for myself. Hey, I just got to check myself, because there's obviously things that are going on in our lives too that we got to be able to check at the door when we're going to invest time in our players. Presentations, find one or two things that you can commit to doing. Like I said, there's a whole bunch of things. and try to find one or two things that you're like, you know what, I can commit to trying that. That seems like something that fits into what I'm doing, and I can do that. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Scott Schmelzle. He coaches our JV. He's also coaches in our youth baseball organization. He's going to talk a little bit on practice plan.
Thanks for the opportunity again. As Coach Mark had said, this is, I believe, my 12th year in Lakeville for the North baseball program. I spent 11 of those years at the JV level, and I got to spend 1 year at the sophomore level. My son is currently playing for the 13s, so we've been a part of Lakeville baseball since kind of he's been around here. So for us, meaningful touches are a big deal. When I look at planning a practice plan, I've had the ability to coach football at a bunch of different levels, coach baseball at a couple different places. So when I look at kind of how I want to structure practice or how I want to set up practice, for me a big thing is to be organized. I'm trying to make sure I have at least a mental plan of what I want to get done, where I want to go, what I want to do. I'm going to try and divide and conquer. So I'm going to try and use my assistants to the best of their abilities. If I have an assistant who is really skilled at hitting infield fungos, then he's going to hit a heck of a lot of infield fungos throughout the course of the year. If I got a guy who's a great underhand front toss pitcher, for sure, that's going to be his role. Find a way to keep the kids busy. This was one of the first things that was really hard for me to adjust to. When I went from coaching high school kids who you can say, go do this, and they just do it, to 10-year-olds, hey, go do this, and 2.3 seconds later, they're like, oh, what do you want me to do now? You know, they need that constant kind of ability to be able to stay busy, so give them as much as they can. You need to be successful, you need to feel what they are doing. That's one thing that Coach Mark and I have talked about a lot lately, is one of the big changes that I've made in the last probably 10 years of coaching is a lot of the lines of, hey, try this out, see what you feel. Right? Try this swing technique out, try this fielding technique out, try out this throwing technique, and tell me what you feel. And then say, what'd you think? Did you like it? It's weird, right? But could it be something that you do? Because it seems like even my 12 or my 13-year-old son knows more about body kinetics and the way that he should move his hands through the swing plane than I did when I was 18. I just remember as a kid growing up, it was like, my dad always said the same thing. Hey, elbow up. Okay. No, elbow up. Okay. All right, elbow up. All right. And then it was every single swing. And it was just like, now they're so in tune with being able to say, hey, think about getting your hands here. Try that out and see what you think of that. Okay. For me, big thing, I like to have my stuff kind of written out, at least in the internet part. So what I'll do is I'll use like an Excel doc or a Google Sheet and share it with my fellow coaches. The big thing that I like when I have to lay it out plan-wise is that it forces me to think about what I want to accomplish. It also forces me really to think about what needs to be done. I've been fortunate enough to have kind of Coach Gatsman who made our checklist of beginning of the year stuff that we have to get through defensively and offensively and base running wise. And for me, that helps to go, all right, I haven't covered feeds for double play yet, or I haven't covered this portion, so I need to think about that. Or even in a game, I look and I say, oh man, bunt coverage, we really struggle at. All right, so then in that next practice, I'm going to run a bunt coverage segment or something like that. And to be fair, it allows me to set that up so that I can say, all right, I need to see these guys here. While that's happening, I may put another guy in another situation or another drill or something like that. All right, so I have to think about what drills do I want. Now, again, I've been fortunate and I've been blessed to be able to have, kind of a drill catalog that I've created over years of coaching. Right? I need to know how much time do I want to spend. Do I want to spend an hour working on double play turns with 4 kids? Likely not, right? Probably 10, 15 minutes of concentrated, good, hard work is going to be good enough with that. I want to maximize my time with my team. Now, on the JV level, I've got 15, 16, 17-year-old kids who can drive. So the only thing that's stopping me from practicing tonight is them having dates, which is few and far between for a lot of my things. So, but that's okay, right? But with my son's age group, I got 1:30, 1 hour and 30 minutes. So I have to maximize that ability. Meaning I can't just say, all right, we're going to work on this for 20 minutes. Does that sound good? No, it has to be, I want 15 minutes here. I got to be time specific, and I got to work through that so that if I'm all of a sudden not done, then I got to remember in my mind, I may have to come back to that. Okay? I want to get everybody involved and limit my downtime and standing. If you were probably to come to one of my youth practices, it looks like a football practice. I know it sounds weird, but we're moving, we're going, we're running through everything. If I'm teaching, yeah, then we're talking. But otherwise, I'm only going to teach for a little bit because you had those post-game discussions with guys where all of a sudden you're talking about stuff, and then all of a sudden the one kid's piling up grass on the other kid's shoe, and the other kid's like tying his shoe, the other guy's shoe together, and all of a sudden it turns into just a cluster of stuff going on, and you're just like, screw it, go home. Go to Dairy Queen, do what you gotta do. Okay? Here's one way that I did it. One setup for me. We work really, really hard to get our kids to warm up properly. Meaning that I've tried to listen to a lot of people talk about, having a dynamic warm up, having something where the two schools of thought either are you warming up to throw or are you throwing to warm up? And it's really weird because people look at that and they say, well, yeah, we're going to throw to warm up. Well, no, your arm's not warm. Your body's not warm. So if you want to teach proper mechanics of using your legs and stuff like that, then you got to make sure that your core and that your legs are all nice and warm. So we run dynamic warm-ups. I'm going to introduce meat checks this year. With the 13-year-olds, I don't know what that's going to look like. It could be squirrely time, but that's okay. And then this session, I happened to do round the horn. I wanted to see, could they throw, could they move, could they catch? And then I did a short toss scrimmage. So for me, what I did is I broke my guys into 3 teams. I said, all right, we're gonna play this game and we're gonna compete. We're gonna keep track of runs. I'm gonna put you in situations. And then you can see down in the bottom, I needed to identify catches for my team at this time. I needed to look, who's catching for me? Can they catch in this short toss scrimmage? Can we steal? Can we do that stuff? All right. And then we talked through stealing bases. And then again, one big thing for me, being a high school coach, field cleanup. I make my kids clean up the field. Even you can see at 10 years old, I don't be shush. All right. But I make my kids help out and take ownership of that field a little bit too. All right. Here's a different one for when they were 12. You can now see I got a few different things going in there. Right. I got teaching leads and spoke, pickoff moves, runner on first situation, infield, outfield situations. And notice here, this is one big thing for us. High volume. High volume. I want to hit as many ground balls at them as I can. If we got groups of 3, we're working high volume. I want them to see as many fly balls as they can, because if you look at this one, this was March 7th, down in Dundas. Right? So I knew I had a limited time in the dome, and that likely I wasn't going to see green grass for another 2.5 months. And so I had to use it as best as I could. And then this was a big point of emphasis for us as we went on, competition. Man, I'm really trying to push a competition piece and really trying to get my kids to compete because they love battling each other, but also it helps them to now start to think about, hey, I might not win. I'm going to be okay with that. All right? And then I always try to break them down a little bit and have a little bit of a finish thing. This one I told them, hey, go teach your dog, your cat, your mom about leading off at first base or second base. Go teach them how to slide back in. How many of them did it? That I don't know, but it was at least something that was written to them. This one was one from, I think when they were 11. I just basically sent a text out to my guys. Said, hey, we're going to work pitchers on the mound, we're working picks. All right? Leads and steals, we do a drill called chaos infield, pop-up priority, individual drill work if we got time. All right? Just setting guys out and making sure that guys are getting work on different positional stuff like that. Okay? Other things that you can look at when I'm trying to do my focus, warm-ups. I'm always trying to look at something in warm-ups, right? We may tell guys, especially if they're in a pitching week or something like that, we may say, hey, work on your changeup. Hey, mess around with your grip. See if you can get a 2-seam to dive in. See if you can get a 2-seam to ride to glove side. All right? Throwing. We love to do long toss, but at the same point, I want to teach them how to do long toss. I don't want to see a guy throwing long toss, solid, stiff legs, and all of a sudden the ball's up in the clouds. No. I want to see you driving this thing. I want to see you using those legs. One thing that always stuck out in my mind is that I heard somebody talk about what's stronger, 150 pounds down here, or 6 ounces right here. That's the scary part. So we're trying to teach our kids to use those legs. And then we do short toss. You want to make a kid work on catching the ball? Put them 3-4 feet away and say, let's go, as fast as you can. How fast can you go, right? And now build up that ability to transfer, to work that glove, work that hand. Infield work, what do you want? Footwork, glove work, feeds? Do you have specific plays? Charging a ground ball, working a backhand, right? Doing some sort of pick play or something like that. Outfield, drop steps, routes, catch mechanics, throws, cuts, communication. All those are different things that we can do. Base running is where there's a lot of hit and runs we found out in the years past. Are you talking about, all right, once you get off first base, what are you looking for when that ball's hit to the outfield? All right, are you getting reads? Like, are you getting reads in a BP session? Right, guys are hitting off the plate. Are you having them run bases like they would in a game? Trying to see, can I advance on a base? Having your infield and your outfield then play live too. Hitting's huge. Coach Mark is going to talk about that. There's 100,000 different things you can do there. Pitching, how much work are you doing on pitching? Are you working on fielding? Are you working on secondary pitches? Are you trying to fix outfield as well? All right. Resources that we have for this stuff. I mean, Twitter is a huge resource, like Coach Mark can talk about, right? You can follow, like, the one big one right now, because spring training's going on, is if you put in hashtag ST drills, you get a bunch of different MLB drills. It's kind of neat to follow. I'm a big fan of Dirt Brothers Infield. Baseball balls on there. I think there's a Darren Fenster or something like that. He does some nice stuff. Connect with a coach. I literally, when I was at the St. Olaf Clinic, the DMAC coach gave us his information, and I said, hey, can I get your presentation? He sent me like all of his posters and goals that he uses. He sent me, his weighted ball routine. So if you reach out to local coaches, they're pretty helpful with that. Grab a book. YouTube is obviously huge, and then a lot of the stuff that I've started to do too is just make up my own drill. All right, I got to work on this part of the game. I got to work on, my shortstop being able to not be scared to charge the ball. So I thought to myself, well, how can I do that? All right, I'm going to have him move forward and now go field the ground ball. Try to eliminate that sense of fear by just saying, run. I'm going to hit you a nice bouncy ball, you pick the bounce, and you throw them off. Okay? And then competition. Being baseball is such a failure-driven game. I think this is one of my real huge focuses this year with my youth team, is I want to push them and fail. I want to see, now can we work through that failure to be successful the next day? Is your practice always easy, repetitive, boring? I think I read somewhere that boring is the killer of baseball fundamentals. If all of a sudden you got a kid who's bored and he's just fielding ground balls all day, now all of a sudden the feet get sloppy, the hands get bad, right? The bat pass starts getting terrible, okay? And is it mentally challenging or mentally defeating? I've had my fair share of times where I thought a drill was absolutely fabulous, roll it out in the kids, whew, and it's awful, it's straight up garbage. We had to kill that drill and go on to the next one right away, right? Or is it challenging enough for them? Is it going to make them think about that situation, make them think about themselves? All right? So, as much as I can say, I try not to use that first 5 minutes of practice when I'm warming up the practice plan. It does happen. But I try to be a little bit at least ahead of the game and try and get out in front of it and be able to say, okay, gentlemen, here's what we got to look at, here's what we got. Okay? Feel free if you want to reach out to me. I can get you all my resources that I've stolen from other people. Created myself. Those will be available to you. So, all right. Yeah, thank you.
Anybody have questions on anything like that?
One of those slides that looked like, if you want to back up, it was one of your last practice plan ones. It kind of looked like that one right there. So I'm assuming you, during the course of the day, maybe throw that out to your assistant coaches, and is that kind of what that process is like?
Yeah. So I think this was one probably where we were. In fact, I do remember this one because for us we were really struggling. I think we had just played Prior Lake, and our runners at first base were taking their lead like this, and then they'd look, and as soon as they looked, Prior Lake picked them off like 4 times, and then we had guys on second who were here, and then they'd look over at me, and they daylighted them. So we had to work on picks that day from both the pitchers and from the leads and steals. So it was one of those where I looked at them like, oh my God, we were trash the other night. We got to fix this up. So yeah, it was just kind of one like, hey, is there anything else I need to add to this? What else are you guys seeing? And I don't have the strain of it, but they might have came back and said, hey, I think we need to do some hitting, because this is all defense, this is all pitching, we're not hitting anything. So I do I will reach out to them and use them as collaborative resources, so. Yeah. Other questions?
One thing for those that are maybe going to be back on Thursday, if you want to start compiling a list, maybe there's people that you know that are in here. You know, it's like, hey, you want to work together or get a few guys together. What might be our checklist of all the things that you might want to try to get done that you can think of, and then spend some of the time in the discussion time. Hey, let's kick some ideas around so that you leave with more things than you can try to come up with on your own. Like he alluded to, the stuff that you see us is not unique to us by any means. There's probably, I can only think of maybe one thing, and I probably can't even think of that. You know, it's like my own twist on it. We've stolen all of this stuff from somebody else, but that's the unique thing about baseball. You can reach out to DMAC, they just send you everything. You talk to anybody, they'll give you everything. It doesn't make you any less of a coach. In fact, I think it makes you a better coach. The more that you can share things with other people. Hey, I tried this. I would do it differently the next time. And this is how I would do it differently. So it's all about sharing your ideas with each other.
And even club ball guys, right? My chaos infield drill is nothing great. It's just I heard from MASH one time. I saw it at a MASH practice when my son was trying out for them one time, and it was just a stress situation. You know, pitchers on a mound, we do that with our high school. I mean, all of these, like Coach Market says, are just modified. You know, just changed to fit the level that we're at. So it's just a little twist on whatever drill they're doing. So.